7. May. A date etched into history with ink both golden and tragic. Today, a digital titan was born, a man who turned generosity into an empire, reshaping what it means to entertain millions. But this same day gave us a warrior who never came home, whose final act of courage echoed across Afghan mountains and into the halls of legend. And in the squared circle, a high-flying phenomenon whose last fall silenced an arena and changed professional wrestling forever. 3 lives. 3 legacies. 1 extraordinary day. What is it about May 7th that produces souls destined to burn so bright? Stay with us, because the answers might unsettle you. In a small bedroom in Greenville, North Carolina, a 13-year-old boy sat before a glowing computer screen, uploading his first video to YouTube. He had no idea that this moment would mark the beginning of something extraordinary. His name was Jimmy Donaldson, but the world would come to know him simply as MrBeast. Born in 1998, Jimmy grew up in modest circumstances, raised by his mother after his parents separated. He was not a child of privilege or connection. What he possessed instead was something far more valuable, an obsession. An all-consuming fascination with understanding what made videos go viral, what captured the human imagination, and what kept people watching. For years, his channel languished in obscurity. He uploaded gaming videos, commentary, anything he thought might work. Most creators would have surrendered to discouragement. But Jimmy treated failure not as defeat, but as data. He studied the platform with the intensity of a scientist, analyzing thumbnails, titles, and watch time patterns until the algorithms became almost a second language. Then came the breakthrough. In 2017, he counted to 100,000 on camera for over 40 hours. It was absurd. It was tedious. And it was absolutely brilliant. The video exploded, and suddenly, the world began to pay attention to this young man from North Carolina with wild ideas and boundless determination. What followed was a revolution in digital entertainment. Jimmy did not simply make videos, he created spectacles. He gave away houses, cars, and millions of dollars. He planted 20 million trees and removed 30 million pounds of trash from the oceans. He built his own chocolate factory and opened restaurants that bore his name across multiple countries. Each project was grander than the last, each challenge more impossible, each act of generosity more staggering. But perhaps what truly set him apart was not the scale of his ambitions, but the heart behind them. In an age of cynicism, he chose sincerity. In a world that rewards selfishness, he built an empire on giving. His philanthropy touched countless lives, from strangers receiving life-changing sums to communities transformed by his foundation's work. Of course, no story of such magnitude comes without complexity. Success at this level invites scrutiny, and Jimmy has faced his share of controversies and criticisms. Yet through it all, he has continued to evolve, to push boundaries, to reimagine what a single creator can achieve. Today, at 28 years old, MrBeast stands as the most subscribed individual on YouTube, a testament to what happens when obsession meets opportunity. And as we look back at that teenage boy in his bedroom, clicking upload for the very first time, we are reminded that every extraordinary journey begins with a single. On a sun-drenched May morning in 1976, in the coastal town of Smithtown, New York, a boy was born who would one day embody the very definition of selfless courage. His name was Michael Patrick Murphy, and though his life would be tragically brief, his legacy would echo through the mountains of Afghanistan and into the hearts of a grateful nation. From his earliest years, Michael was drawn to the water. He became a lifeguard, saving lives along the shores of Long Island, perhaps unknowingly rehearsing for the ultimate sacrifice that lay ahead. But the sea called him to something greater. He dreamed of becoming a Navy SEAL, one of the most elite warriors on Earth, and through sheer determination and an iron will, he made that dream a reality. By 2005, Lieutenant Michael Murphy found himself leading a 4-man reconnaissance team in the unforgiving peaks of the Hindu Kush Mountains, deep in Taliban territory. Their mission, codenamed Operation Red Wings, was to locate a dangerous militant commander. But fate had other plans. When local goat herders stumbled upon their position, Murphy and his men faced an impossible choice: They released the civilians, knowing full well it might seal their doom. Within hours, they were surrounded by dozens of enemy fighters, pinned down on a barren mountainside with bullets raining from every direction. What happened next would define Michael Murphy forever. As his teammates fell wounded around him, as the situation grew more desperate with each passing moment, Murphy made a decision that would cost him everything. He stepped deliberately into the open, into a clearing with no cover, the only place where his satellite phone could find a signal. He called for help, knowing he was exposing himself to withering enemy fire. He was shot. And yet he continued the call, calmly relaying their coordinates, ensuring that rescue would come. Before the transmission ended, he said 2 words to the operator: "Thank you." Michael Patrick Murphy died on that mountain, along with 2 of his teammates and 16 brave rescuers whose helicopter was shot down. Only one SEAL, Marcus Luttrell, survived to tell the world what his lieutenant had done. In 2007, Michael became the first member of the United States military to receive the Medal of Honor for actions in Afghanistan, and the first naval officer so honored since the Vietnam War. Today, a guided missile destroyer bears his name, the USS Michael Murphy, sailing the very oceans he once guarded as a young lifeguard. Nearly 20 years after his death, his story reminds us that true heroism is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it, to place others. Owen Hart was born to wrestle. It was in his blood, passed down from his father Stu Hart, the patriarch of one of professional wrestling's most legendary families. Born in Calgary, Alberta, in 1965, Owen was the youngest of 12 children, and from the moment he could walk, the squared circle called to him. But Owen was different. Where others in his family carried themselves with brooding intensity, Owen radiated joy. He was the prankster, the one who could make an entire locker room erupt in laughter. His smile was infectious, his wit razor-sharp, and his athletic ability simply breathtaking. He could perform moves that seemed to defy the laws of physics, soaring through the air with a grace that left audiences gasping. His professional career took him around the world, from the rings of Japan to the grand stages of the World Wrestling Federation. He captured championships, earned the respect of his peers, and created moments that fans still talk about decades later. His rivalry with his brother Brett became the stuff of legend, a storyline so compelling because beneath the drama lay real brotherly love. Owen was a devoted husband to Martha, a loving father to Oi and Athena. He spoke often of his plans beyond wrestling, of becoming a firefighter, of spending more time with his children. He saw wrestling as a chapter, not the whole story. Then came the night of May 23, 1999. At a pay-per-view event in Kansas City, Owen was set to descend from the rafters of the arena as part of a dramatic entrance. Something went terribly wrong. The harness released too early, and Owen fell nearly 80 feet to the ring below. He was 34 years old. The wrestling world stood still. Colleagues wept openly. Fans around the globe struggled to comprehend a loss so sudden, so senseless. A man who had brought so much laughter was gone in an instant. In the years since, Owen's legacy has only grown stronger. His widow Martha has fought tirelessly for workplace safety, ensuring that her husband's death was not in vain. The Owen Hart Foundation continues to provide educational opportunities for young people, transforming tragedy into hope. Today, Owen would be 61 years old. His children have grown into adults who carry forward his values of kindness and integrity. His matches are still watched, his promos still quoted, his memory still cherished. Some wrestlers are remembered for their championships. Owen Hart is remembered for something far more precious, the way he made people feel. In a world that often celebrates darkness, Owen chose light. And that light, even now, continues to shine. What a journey through 3 remarkable lives today. A YouTube pioneer rewriting the rules of entertainment, a Navy SEAL whose final act of courage saved his brothers in arms, and a wrestler who gave everything to his craft, right until the very end. Each of them shaped their world in ways that still ripple outward today. So here's my question for you: which of these 3 do you think left the biggest mark? Drop your answer in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. And if this episode meant something to you,